Hello there.
What's up, guys? This is Tatsmania. I know it's been a long time since I last posted a deck profile, but there will be more content coming from me soon. I am going to be uploading a lot of different things coming soon from my Twitch, so if you haven't checked out my Twitch, please check that. But today I'm bringing you guys a Zoodiac deck profile that I've been testing and I'm very, very happy with. Basically, this is Stun or Control Zoo. I was deciding between this and Tri-Brigade, and I just like this more because I felt like the resources were a lot better and it just interacted better with a lot of the matchups that are currently in the meta. So let's just get into it. So first, the star card of the deck, Zoodiac Rapier. Open this and it resolves, you basically win. I think that's pretty obvious. 3 Thoroughblade. I've seen people play 2 of this. I disagree. The draw effect actually does come up. Putting Whiptail in Grave, which I'm also playing 3 of, is actually pretty important because then you can recycle a Tiger Mortar and get your combos going and put more cards in Grave for Pot of Avarice. So that's actually a really cool interaction. The amount of times that I've opened these 2 together in playtesting is actually nuts. So I think 3 Thoroughblade with 3 Whiptail is just perfect, even though 3 Whiptail is, in fact, standard. 3 Ram is another one I've seen people play 2 of, and that's because Infant isn't being played as much, but I do think it's actually pretty relevant because Chuchi is in the meta from Virtual World, and since Virtual World is the best deck, I want to make sure that this deck has the best matchup against that, and Virtual World is a very difficult matchup for this deck. So Ram at 3 I think is pretty important because it stops Chuchi. For hand traps, the only one I'm playing is Ash. It's the best generic one. I would be citing Droll and Lock just for other decks, such as Virtual World and anything else that's just drawing a shit ton. For example, Drytron, which this deck doesn't have a huge problem going against when this deck goes first, but going second, it's definitely a problem. Going into the spells, obviously 3 Tenki and the 1 Barrage. Barrage is obviously the one you want to open, but we only have 1, so. 3 Pot of Avarice. I'm choosing to play this instead of Desires. I don't want to play Desires because I don't like that card. It's not so much that I think that it's bad in this deck. It's just that if you have to resolve more than 1, you are probably losing. Just from my standpoint, I just think you just don't have enough resources to continue. So I think Pot of Avarice is just a lot better. And you can easily put 5 monsters in Grave. Next is Extenders. 1 Monster Reborn, 2 Living Fossil. These cards are nice. Living Fossil allows you just to extend a ridiculous amount. If you open this with Rapier or any of these with Rapier, you're winning. It's not even a contest.
You're playing 3 Monster Reborn.
Oh yeah. This is a person. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like 3 Monster Reborn. If they stop Living Fossil, that's not a big deal. But like if you're able to resolve that, you should be winning and you should be in a winning position. For a personal tech, I think this card is incredibly underrated, and I don't understand why it's not being played more. Even in Virtual World, I think this card can be pretty useful because it allows VFD to get played a lot longer, but I'm playing 2 Xyz Import. I almost want to bump this up to 3, but because it's a hard once per turn, that makes it a lot worse. But Xyz Import actually puts opponents in like really, really awkward positions that they can't really get out of because instead of banishing a card or putting in the grave, it just takes it away and it doesn't allow them to use the resource unless they get rid of whatever you put it under. And sometimes that's really difficult, especially if you Trident with a Ram under it, or a Trident with a Whiptail on a Ram, which can come up, and that's just absolutely the nuts. But Xyz Import, really, really great, and it also takes people by surprise, so I really like this card, and I'm going to continue playing it. And it's also really great with Zeus, because it lets you use Zeus more often. For the power 1-ups, I am playing Called by the Grave, and this is like the iffiest card in the deck. It's Magical Midbreaker Field. If you open it, I opened this so many times. This card's faithful. But Called by the Grave is obvious. I'm going to stop hand traps. If they stop Rat and I can stop that, like, that's game. But Magical Midbreaker Field can be kind of useful. It stops Infit, stops Chuchi. It can conflict with Trident play, but sometimes you don't even need Trident. You can go into other things. But sometimes, yeah, this is pretty useful. I think it's definitely, sometimes it's a 1-for-1 with Chuchi or something else, but it definitely stops some stuff, and that's enough in itself. For the traps, the other hand trap we're playing is 3 Infant. I think Infant's actually not terrible. It doesn't interact the best with Virtual World, but it can stop VFD, so that can be important as long as you open it, obviously. It can also stop a couple of other things, a couple of other interactions that are kind of awkward, and I just like it. Also, people just don't pay attention to zones, so that's really great. So setting it going first is really good, which is, this deck does want to go first. It's control. Next, we're playing the Solemn package. I'm not playing Judgment because not Judgment, excuse me. I'm not playing Warning because Warning is bad, but Judgment's a very good card. Strike is, I think, the better card because it just stops so much more. Judgment is good, but not the better one. I think Strike is the best one. Next, probably the best non-zoo card in the deck. 3 Ice Dragon's Prison. I am maining this. Oh my god, this has saved my bacon so many times. And it just interacts really, really great. It outs 2 cards. It's insane. It's DD Crow on crack. I like it. And then for the last card, Zoodiac combo. This is the worst card in the deck, but sometimes you need it. Yeah, it's combo. It's It can be Pot of Avarice, and that's about all it does. Why are you thinking on that?
It says draw 1 card!
It's drawing cards, but it's because you have to wait a turn. So for the extra deck, we're playing a lot of Zoo. This is definitely needs work and just balancing and stuff like that. 1 Dryden, we're playing Zoo. This is the reason why this deck is even relevant at the moment. 2 Chalk-9 and 2 Tiger Mortar. This is the ratio that I'm having the most difficult time with. Sometimes I only want 2 Chalk-9, sometimes the third one comes up. Sometimes I only want 1 Tiger Mortar, sometimes the second one comes up. It just depends on the what type of deck you're playing. If you're playing something that's more grindy, I'd rather have Tiger Mortar because that just uses my resources that I already have. Prank Kids, for example, BA, anything that can grind is like something that I would rather have this for. So that's why I'm playing this ratio, but I can see why, like, 3 of this is still good, and I'm trying to find the room, and I'm not sure what it could be. Next, second best under Dryden for Zoo cards in the extra deck, Borbo, free Zeus. Just free Zeus. Hammer Kong, it doesn't do anything except give more names. That's all it's there for. A card that weirdly comes up is Vespanato. This just weirdly gets over things that normally wouldn't be able to do. It can steal games sometimes. Yeah, it comes up every once in a while, and I do think it's necessary. And it's a 2,500 beat stick, and sometimes you just need that. Next, the most expensive part of the deck, 2 Zeus. I got lucky and opened 1, and I bought the other one. But Zeus is nice, and being able to pop your own cards with Dryden so you get more material under this is nice. So, yeah. There was an interaction that I had testing this where I popped my own mid-breaker field so I could pop a card on my opponent's turn, and then I gave Divine Zeus another material, so that was good. I made it live again. The last standard card for Zoo, I'm playing the Infinitrack card. This card almost makes me want to play Waking the Dragon, just because I want to get it out for free sometimes. Some decks just can't deal with this card, and it's also a great extender. It revives your Dryden, it revives Chalk-9, and so therefore it's very good. And then for the last 3 cards, I'm playing IP, Unicorn, and then the very new one, Underworld Goddess. This Underworld Goddess comes up probably the least, but I don't want to main deck Kaijus. I don't want to side deck Kaijus if I don't have to, because I feel like, yes, they can be very useful. Yes, they out specific cards, but sometimes they're not ideal. Especially because I want to go first, and I feel like this interaction is a lot better when you're going first than having a Kaiju and hoping you don't get chosen to go second, or don't get chosen to go first. So I think this is just better. It negates effects. Just being able to steal monsters is very nice. And then Nightmare Unicorn, you're almost always going to have hand advantage. So being able to just randomly take this out. And then if you keep this on the field, you can just go into this the next turn and use your opponent's monster and negate all the rest of the effects. So it's a really nice interaction. Doesn't come up too often. Usually you'll have the option, if you open full combo, you can either do this or you can go into this. It just depends on what you feel comfortable with, or if it's game 2 or 3, you can decide from there and just figure out if you know what your opponent has, then you can decide from there. But other than that, that's about it. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun playing with this deck. it's been a while since I've had fun piloting a specific deck, so I'm glad that this is a lot of fun for me. But once again, guys, thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Asmania. I'm going to be streaming random different content. It can be anything, Among Us, Mega Man. I'll be doing Mega Man this week, so look out for that. And yeah, thank you guys.